Reference number 101. That's what appeared on Sarah Chen's screen in November 2024 when she tried to get an employer identification number for her new consulting LLC. Not an EIN, a reference number. The IRS system wouldn't tell her what was wrong, just that it couldn't process her application. She tried again the next day. Same error. She called the IRS business tax line. After 47 minutes on hold, the agent told her she'd have to submit Form SS4 by fax. Processing time, 45 to 60 business days, nearly 3 months. Her LLC formation cost $300 and took 1 week. Getting the 9-digit tax ID number to actually operate that LLC would take 12 weeks. She couldn't open a business bank account without it, couldn't hire her first contractor, couldn't file the proper tax forms. The entire business launch sat frozen because of reference number 101. She's not alone. Between January 2024 and October 2025, the IRS processed approximately 4.7 million EIN applications. Based on documentation from tax professionals and formation services tracking error codes, roughly 18% of online applications trigger rejection codes. That's 846,000 applications that don't get instant approval. The National Taxpayer Advocate's Office flagged this as a systemic problem in September 2025, stating that what should be a straightforward process has become marred by delays, technical glitches, and inconsistent procedures. The interesting part isn't that applications get rejected. It's that most rejections happen for reasons the applicant never anticipated. A single letter difference in your name versus Social Security records. A business name that's too similar to one registered in Idaho when you're in Florida. An address listed in a different state than your incorporation documents. These aren't intentional errors. They're data mismatches the IRS system flags automatically. Here's what actually causes the most common rejection codes, how long each type delays your business, and the specific mistakes that trigger them. Sarah's reference number 101 came down to her business name, Chen Consulting Services, LLC. Turns out there's a Chen Consulting Group, LLC, registered in Nevada. The IRS checks business names nationwide, not just within your state. Your state approved your unique business name, but the IRS database found it too similar to an existing entity anywhere in the United States. This is the single most common rejection code online applicants encounter. When you get reference number 101, the online system won't let you proceed, no matter how many times you try. The only resolution: submit Form SS4 by fax or mail with your state formation documents attached to prove you're a legitimately separate entity. Fax processing time averaged 45 to 60 business days throughout 2024 and into 2025. Mail processing stretched to 8 to 12 weeks. There's no expedite option unless you have an imminent business closure or IRS levy, situations that don't apply to new businesses trying to launch. The impact compounds quickly. Sarah had signed a lease for office space starting December 1st. The landlord required proof of business insurance, which required an EIN. She'd lined up 3 consulting contracts starting in January, all requiring W-9 forms with a valid EIN. By mid-January 2025, she still hadn't received her EIN confirmation. One client canceled the contract. The other 2 agreed to wait, but pushed their start dates to March. She estimated $47,000 in lost revenue during the delay. The frustrating detail: her state, California, had already verified her business name was unique within California before approving her LLC formation. But the IRS operates federally and flagged the Nevada company's similar name. There's no coordinated database between state business registrations and the IRS EIN system. You can have a state-approved unique name and still get rejected for a name conflict at the federal level. Reference number 102 appears when your Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number doesn't match IRS records. This sounds simple. You mistyped your SSN, but the most common cause isn't typos. It's name mismatches between what you entered and what the Social Security Administration has on file. Michael Rodriguez got reference number 102 in March 2024. He triple-checked his SSN, all 9 digits correct. The problem was his legal name. He'd been using Michael Rodriguez professionally for 8 years. His Social Security card said Miguel Angel Rodriguez, his full legal name from birth. The IRS system cross-references your SSN with Social Security Administration records. If the name you enter doesn't exactly match SSA's database, rejection. This hits particularly hard for people who got married or divorced and changed their names. The Social Security Administration requires a separate name change process. If you changed your name with Social Security, but the update hasn't fully processed in their system, which can take 2 to 6 weeks, the IRS EIN system will reject your application even though your SSN is correct. You're entering your current legal name, but SSA's database still shows your previous name. Women who change their names after marriage represent a significant portion of reference number 102 rejections. Jennifer Adams got married in August 2024, legally changed her name to Jennifer Thompson, updated her Social Security records, and filed for an EIN in October 2024 under Jennifer Thompson. Reference number 102. The Social Security Administration had processed her name change request but hadn't updated their master file that the IRS queries. She had to wait until December, 4 months after her marriage, before the system synced and she could successfully apply. The resolution requires either using the exact name Social Security has on file, even if it's outdated, or contacting Social Security to verify your name update has processed, then waiting 2 to 3 weeks before reapplying for the EIN. You can't expedite Social Security database updates. There's no workaround. If the names don't match, the application fails. Reference number 103 occurs when you list a business entity as your responsible party instead of an individual, and that business's EIN doesn't match its registered name in IRS records. This typically affects businesses forming subsidiary LLCs, where the parent company is the responsible party. David Park's Real Estate Holding Company formed a second LLC in July 2024 to purchase a rental property. He listed his existing LLC, Park Real Estate Holdings LLC, as the responsible party using its EIN. Reference number 103. The IRS system showed his company registered as Park Real Estate Holdings LLC with a comma before LLC. That single comma created a name mismatch that triggered automatic rejection. He called the IRS 3 times trying to resolve it. Each call required 35 to 55 minutes on hold. The first agent told him to reapply online using the exact name with the comma. During those 52 days, the property purchase deadline passed. David had to renegotiate the contract twice, costing him $8,000 in additional earnest money deposits to keep the seller willing to wait. The property management company he'd hired canceled because they couldn't verify the LLC without an EIN. He estimated $3,200 in lost rental income for the months the property sat vacant while the EIN processed. Reference numbers 104 through 108 cover various responsible party and third-party designee mismatches. These are less common, but equally problematic. Reference number 105 means you already have an EIN issued to you personally as a responsible party, and you're trying to obtain another one online the same day. The IRS limits responsible parties to 1 online EIN application per day. If you're forming multiple LLCs, you have to space out the applications across multiple days or submit by fax. James Martinez formed 3 LLCs in 1 week in September 2024. 1 for real estate investing, 1 for consulting, 1 for e-commerce. He successfully got the first EIN online Monday morning. When he tried to get the second EIN Monday afternoon, reference number 105, he tried again Tuesday, successful. Wednesday, he got the third EIN. What should have been a 20-minute process spread across 3 days, because he didn't know about the 1 per day limit. Reference numbers 109, 110, 112, and 113 all indicate technical errors on the IRS system side, not applicant mistakes. These are the frustrating ones because you didn't do anything wrong. The IRS system either crashed during processing, is undergoing maintenance, or encountered a database query error. Resolution: wait 24 hours and try again. If the error persists, submit by fax or mail. Melissa Chang got reference number 109 in February 2025. She waited 24 hours, tried again, reference number 109 again. She tried daily for a week. Same error. She finally called the IRS. During that period, she couldn't finalize a $75,000 small business loan. The bank required proof of EIN before closing. The loan offer expired March 15th. By the time she got her EIN in April, Interest rates had increased half a percentage point. Over the life of her 5-year loan term, that rate increase cost her an additional $490 in interest. The processing delays compound beyond just the wait time. Banks won't open business accounts without an EIN. Payment processors like Stripe won't verify your business. Clients and vendors require W-9 forms with valid EINs before processing payments over $600. States require EINs for various business licenses and permits. Everything in the business formation chain depends on that 9-digit number. Attorney Rachel Foster, who's filed hundreds of EIN applications for clients, told me the error rate increased noticeably starting in late 2023 and remained elevated through 2024 and into 2025. She estimates 1 in 5 of her client applications now trigger some form of rejection code, primarily 101, 102, and technical errors. Before 2023, she rarely saw rejection codes. The IRS hasn't publicly explained what changed in their verification systems, but practitioners report the name-matching algorithms became more strict and the technical stability of the online system decreased. The National Taxpayer Advocate's September 2025 blog post highlighted systemic issues beyond just error codes. Applicants outside the United States cannot use the online system at all. They must fax or mail, automatically facing 4+ week delays. The online application times out after 15 minutes of inactivity, causing completed applications to disappear. Only one EIN per responsible party per day can be issued online. The system requires completing the entire application in one session with no ability to save progress. Most critically, if you successfully get an EIN online but do not download the confirmation letter immediately, called Form CP 575, you cannot access it again. There's no retrieve my EIN confirmation button. You must wait 30 days before you can request an EIN verification letter, Form 147C, by phone or mail. That 30-day blackout period prevents you from proving you have an EIN, even though you do. Banks, vendors, and clients won't accept, "I have an EIN, but I don't have proof of it," as valid documentation. The workaround people discovered immediately save multiple copies of the CP 575 confirmation when it appears. Print it, download the PDF, email it to yourself, store it in cloud storage, because if you close that browser window without saving it, you're locked out for a month. The avoidable mistakes break into 3 categories. First, name-matching errors, the largest source of rejections. Before applying online, verify the exact name the Social Security Administration has on file for you, not the name you use professionally, not your married name if you just got married, the exact name SSA has in their system right now. If you're uncertain, request your Social Security statement online or call SSA to confirm. For business entities acting as responsible party, use the precise legal name from your EIN confirmation letter, including any commas, periods, or abbreviations. Second, formation sequence errors. The IRS system checks whether your business entity actually exists in state records. If you apply for an EIN the same day you filed your LLC formation, your state might not have processed the filing yet. Wait 3 to 5 business days after receiving your state's approval before applying for an EIN. Some states take longer. New York and Illinois can take 2 weeks to fully process and make formation data accessible to IRS systems. Delaware typically processes within 1 to 2 business days. Third, information consistency errors. The state where you formed your entity must match the state you list in your EIN application. If your LLC is formed in Delaware, but you list a Wyoming address as your principal business location, the IRS system flags a potential state mismatch and may trigger reference number 101. Use your registered agent address in the formation state as your business address in the EIN application to avoid conflicts. For businesses needing EINs quickly, the online application works. When it works. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're outside those hours, you're out of luck. West Coast applicants finishing their application at 7:05 p.m. Pacific Time find the system closed. The application saves no data. You start over the next business day. If you get a rejection code, the decision tree is straightforward. Reference numbers 101, 102, 103. Correct the information. If you can identify the mismatch, wait 24 hours, try again. If still rejected, fax Form SS4 with supporting documents. Reference numbers 109 through 113. Wait 24 hours, try again once. If still rejected, fax form SS4. Current fax processing time runs 6 to 8 weeks. Mail processing runs 10 to 14 weeks. The lost opportunity cost during these delays varies by business type. Service businesses that can operate under the owner's SSN initially face lower immediate impact. They can invoice clients using their personal tax ID temporarily. But this creates issues at year-end when trying to properly segregate business income and expenses. LLCs that elected corporate taxation cannot operate at all without an EIN. There's no temporary workaround. Businesses hiring employees need EINs before their first payroll run to report withheld taxes. Real estate investors face particularly tight timelines. Property closings don't wait 60 days for EIN processing. Title companies require proof of EIN before closing. Partnership agreements require each partner entity to have an EIN before formation. Missing an EIN deadline in real estate typically means either losing the property deal entirely or restructuring the purchase under a personal name, losing the liability protection the LLC was supposed to provide. The system wasn't always this restrictive. Before 2018, businesses could call the IRS and get an EIN issued over the phone immediately. That option was eliminated. Before 2020, international applicants could call a specific international EIN line and receive EINs quickly. That line stopped operating. The online system became the primary channel, but its error-checking algorithms became stricter without corresponding improvements in user guidance about what triggers rejections. The 18% rejection rate means that if you're forming a business this year, there's approximately a 1 in 5 chance you'll encounter a rejection code, even if you carefully fill out the application. The most common cause, reference number 101 name conflicts, stems from nationwide name checking that your state formation office never warned you about. The second most common cause, reference number 102 name mismatches, stems from inter-agency database sync delays between Social Security and the IRS that you have no visibility into or control over. The practical reality, budget an extra 60 to 90 days in your business formation timeline, specifically for potential EIN delays. Don't schedule business launches, employee start dates, loan closings, or contract deadlines, assuming you'll get your EIN instantly online. The system works for about 82% of applicants. For the other 18%, plan for the fax route and its associated processing time. If you're in the middle of an EIN delay right now, the options are limited. You cannot expedite faxed applications unless you have documented proof of an imminent levy, business closure, or federal filing deadline that will result in penalties. I need to start my business doesn't qualify as expedite-worthy in the IRS's criteria. Calling the IRS business tax line won't speed processing. They can only confirm whether your faxed application has been received, not when it will be processed. The gap between I filed my LLC formation documents and I can actually operate my business now averages 2 to 12 weeks, depending on whether you get instant online EIN approval or trigger a rejection code. That gap represents lost revenue, delayed contracts, missed opportunities, and additional costs for businesses that can't wait. The error isn't usually that you filled out the form wrong. The error is that the IRS is automated verification systems flagged something you couldn't see or fix preemptively. If you're forming an LLC this year, verify your SSN name match before you start. Wait a week after your state approves your formation before applying. Apply between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern on a weekday. Save your CP 575 confirmation immediately if approved. If you get a reference number instead of an EIN, prepare for 6 to 12 weeks before you can actually launch.